So you talked about the president, part of stealing America, I suppose, is your thesis that Obama is somehow taking from everyday Americans. You mentioned the debt crisis and him doubling the debt. I mean, this has been something that's proved to be incorrect numerous times. So, whilst the debt has increased under the president, it was actually inherited from the recession, which of course was a prior administration. So to say that he himself was the arbiter of increasing the debt is incorrect.
Well, the debt was $8.5 trillion when Obama took office. It's now $17 trillion. So are you telling me that the recession added $7.5 trillion of debt?
Well, the facts remain that the state of the economy was a shambles under a previous administration. It wasn't the Obama administration that was the author of that chaos.
Of course not. But what I'm saying is when Reagan was in office, the liberals were grumbling about $200 billion deficits as far as the eye can see. Even Bush's largest deficits, there was a lot of howling when Bush reached $500 billion. So what were annual deficits under Reagan have become monthly deficits under Obama, and yet there's a deafening silence about it among the Democrats.
Wait, hang on a second. What do you mean by deafening silence?
By a deafening silence, what I mean is if you purport to be outraged by deficits, you see a $200 billion deficit, you go, oh, this is intolerable. It's going to, future generations are going to be saddled. But then when your guy comes into office and the deficits are 5 times as large and you don't say anything, well, that creates the impression that you're being a little hypocritical.
Well, I also think that this is a different kind of context as well, of course. So, the Bush administration was operating under different auspices, and the Obama administration inherited, of course, a situation in the economy which was substantially more challenging than the Bush administration.
Well, that would explain, look, no one denies that in 2008, 2009, there was a dire situation. I'm not talking about just the stimulus. I'm just talking about the habitual increase in government spending. I'm talking about federal takeovers of huge industries, from healthcare to investment banks to finance, now the energy sector. We have seen an expansion of the government's role in the economy that goes way beyond the 2008 banking crisis.
Well, I think some people would disagree with you. Philip Bump is just an example in the Washington Post, who has a story behind Obama and the national debt in 7 charts. I'll put it in the resource well so everyone can check it out. I won't spend more time talking about it here. Part of the book, you're concerned with student loans. Young people in this country. You have a daughter, a young daughter. She's studying as well in London at the moment. And it seems to be that you're very concerned about this. I want to read this excerpt from the book where you say, Obama has actually stolen that money because debt, it should be emphasized, is a form of theft. We are, of course, used to hearing the usual rhetoric about how a huge national debt imposes on future generations. But missing here is the recognition that debt is a form of robbing from young people. Progressives are brazenly ripping of the young, all in the name of social justice. What do you mean by that?
All right, now let's say I tell you that you want to go to college, but I'm going to give you a rebate on your student loan. So I'm actually going to let you go to college for free. Now, it isn't actually free for you to go to college because teachers have to be paid and there are costs. So I say now, I'm Obama, and I say I'm going to put those costs on the federal government. But the federal government doesn't have any money. It has to borrow. So it's going to be borrowing and adding to the debt. Now, who is that debt going to fall upon? It's actually going to fall upon you and your generation. So what I'm really doing is I'm taking your money from the future, your earnings, and I'm giving it to you now. But I'm pretending to be a great guy. I'm actually taking the money out of your wallet and giving it to you. I'm doing you no favor, but I'm acting like I'm your benefactor, and now I expect you to vote for me in return. So this is the progressive con, generosity with other people's money, except in this case, it's not other people's money, it's your money.
So you're really questioning progressives as opposed to the president himself?
Well, no, I'm saying that there's a certain kind of progressive usurpation of funds, and Obama and Hillary are the masters of the genre. Now, they didn't figure it out themselves. They learned some of it from a shakedown artist like Saul Alinsky. They've put these progressive lessons to effect, and this is a very different progressivism than we saw, for example, with Jimmy Carter or earlier with Kennedy or even with Truman.
So what are you looking for? The student loan crisis isn't going to go away. And I think the Democrats and the Republicans, both sides have seen that there is a serious issue when it comes to the kind of debt that young people in this country are saddled with. What would be your solution?
Well, my solution is that I think the reason that college costs have been escalating so rapidly is not because there's an actual increase of costs. It's not that they're paying professors all that much more. It's not because facilities cost more. In fact, technology in every other sector is driving costs down. So the reason college costs are going up is precisely because the government is providing more money. Every time the government says we'll increase the Pell Grants or we'll give more aid, colleges go, wonderful, we'll raise prices. So we've kind of got a racket that's going on between the colleges and the government, and both of them together are ripping off the taxpayer. So to me, the solution basically is new forms of education, typically online, high quality, low cost. I think we're going to see the whole college system transformed over the next decade.